The James Lee slander has to end. No matter where I go, what I do, or what even the topic is, I'm always going to be seeing some people, for whatever reason, talking about how James Lee is a fraud. So today, I've collected as much sources as I possibly could so that I could break down all of them in this video to prove whether James Lee is really about that life or not. So without any more time getting wasted or anything, let's just get straight to the video. Now, a lot of people like to downplay or hate on James Lee for the sole reason that in the whole PTJ verse, he's the only character who is winning, pretty much. And the fact that he barely gets into fights just gives them a lame-ass excuse or anything, just to put slander onto his name by talking about how all he does is run away. So I'm examining every moment he's done fraudulent activity, starting off with the finale of the Hunt for Gun Park arc. So Gun just came back from pretty much barely surviving UI Daniel, and he wasn't even in UI himself, but he just had to get caught by James Lee. Now it doesn't matter how many times you explain it to these Gun stands. By the way, I'm making a video on Gun soon, by the way, so don't be calling me a James Lee stan or a Gun hater. I'm non-biased, unless it comes to Johan Seong, because he's just goated. But yeah, bro, no matter how many times you explain it to these Gun stands, they will always find a way to talk about how James Lee was ducking Gun in that moment, when the guy was literally on death's doorstep and James was clearly he was literally about to win with just one tap, so he saw no reason to fight. After all, his objective was Charles Choi and the police have already made their way to the scene, so he pretty much did what any normal sane person would do and just avoid getting himself into more trouble than he needs to. Now, moving on to when Gun Park was actually able to fight, however, in the conclusion of the war between Big Deal and Workers, James Lee didn't fight Gun there either. Now, why was this? Well, it's not because James is scared or anything, otherwise he wouldn't have shown up either way and just let the police handle with all of them. But let me tell you this, the thing is, James was down to fight Gun, and also he was followed by the rest of Allied in this case too, so James was the one who was outnumbered. But this time, it was Gun who couldn't fight, since he got called back by Charles Choi. So yeah, and James pretty much no-diffed Allied apart from that one lucky shot that Daniel gave to him, which pretty much had zero effect, by the way. So yeah, anyways, so that's the two major times where James Lee pretty much hasn't fought people, which leaves me back to when he escaped from the first Gen Kings along with his incident with UI Daniel. Now, I can't believe I'm gonna have to say I'm gonna have to explain when James Lee escaped from the first generation Kings. First of all, this guy just finished off his fight against Seong-ji Yuk, who even until this point of the story, Seong-ji was his hardest fight. So all of a sudden, pretty much the strongest top characters at the time pull up, and you guys expect this high school boy is meant to take all of them at once. He ain't even at his prime yet. And to all those Gun stands, I promise, the same Gun in this arc, he wouldn't even last 5 seconds before he gets taken down. Now I admit, Gun wouldn't run away, he would fight. But in James's case, bro, James knew he would lose, so he just did the smart thing and just left anyways. After all, why would he want to get beaten up? And now, at this point, it doesn't even matter because he hunted all of them down anyways, one by one. And bro literally stood on business. He told them all that he will hunt them all down one by one, and he literally did what he said so. Finally, the topic of James Lee vs UI Daniel. Now, when Daniel went into UI, people took this as James trying to duck him and being scared. After all, he was saying oh, now out of all times. No, he literally had a smile on his face and literally fought Daniel either way, and he was dealing with him pretty easily, taking no major injury, even though UI Daniel threw both of them to the same height that Jake and Xiaolong fell from. James Lee tanked it and then went on to speed blitz UI Daniel until Gun pulled up and fought him. And if you think James was a fraud for not fighting, he literally said it was getting fun and wanted to continue. He knew it wasn't needed to fight, so yeah. Something majority of lookers and fans they don't understand about James Lee is that he doesn't need to fight, okay? And when he doesn't need to fight, he just won't. Because James Lee is the type of character who tends to deal in his business efficiently and as easily as he needs to, intentionally not making it harder than it has to be, simply because it just doesn't need to be hard. So when situations occur, when James Lee is handling something, he will literally just handle them as quickly and easy as possible. That's literally it. But with that stuff out of the way, now it's time to list all of his victims. Starting off with the first generation, bro literally soloed a whole ass generation, and if you guys are saying that he snuck up on them, he literally told them beforehand that he would hunt all of them down, so that just makes no sense. Anyways, like the Fritzen crew of the crew, by the way, is like a good note is that he most likely didn't fight the King of Busan yet, and I still think like if they did, he would have won. Anyways, let's start off with Tae Soo-ma, since he made the same mistake as all of these James Lee haters by saying that James Lee only runs away, to which James just disproves by that and like literally just speed blitzes him. Shit really got so bad that a guy just started crying as well. I mean, honestly, like a grown-ass man literally crying, yeah, that's crazy. But I mean, even I would cry if a guy with like pink hair just beat the hell out of me. So yeah. Second of all, we got Gong Seop-ji, whose legs were literally snatched by James Lee and caused him to have like PTSD or something. And let's not forget Ji Chan-kwak, who James Lee finished off so effortlessly, he actually started to pity him and decided not to take anything from the guy. Now I could keep going when it comes to first generation, but that'll just take way too long. So yeah, let's move on to someone from a different generation. And I'm talking about Charles Choi. Bro literally feared James Lee so much from day one to the point where he needed UI Daniel to become the counter to James Lee. And at the end of it all, James Lee along with the others made Charles Choi literally pull an Ollie Wang. Now finally, the last one on the list. Gap Pryon Kim, the strongest man in the verse, fell victim to James Lee. Now of course, James and Gite most likely 2v1'd him, but don't forget Baekho Kwon was there too, so it could have just been a 2v2 in which, Gap Pryon and Baekho got murdered. But yeah, so yeah, I mean I get like Gap Pryon was old as well, same with Baekho, but hey, that's still victim. Don't be hating on me, I'm just a chill guy. But yeah, anyways, that's it for me. If you want to still downplay James Lee at this point, then you might as well just argue with a brick. But yeah, that's it. And there's been other cases to back him up too, but I think I've clarified enough. So I'm gonna just see you guys in another video, and yeah, peace.